yang ving rung yang.
It feels right somehow inside that there is some kind of technology that's naturally always there. We just have to harness it.
Just like our bodies, right? We have all this technology. But the thing is, as soon as we harness it, then we can't be controlled anymore. You know, whether that be the inner technology or the outer technology, and that's the big thing, right? That's why we would be misinformed about it. That's why it would be hidden because rich people wouldn't be as rich anymore. I don't know. I think that's the end of civilization if that keeps up.
Yeah, it would be. At least we hope so, because if that keeps up, then it just leads to tyranny, and it leads to kind of indentured servitude for the
Yeah,
majority of people.
yeah.
So, that's when you talked about Krishna before. That's Krishna came, he grew up, and when he reached a certain point, he had to kill Kams, his uncle, who was like a dictator, and just making slaves and being a horrible, horrible, horrible leader. That was one of his purposes. So,
But again, we have to see the innocence in these people and how they're the most distracted, and this plays into the oldest stories in the Vedas. Like I like the story of Parashara, the Maharishi, the guy who wrote and dictated all of the astrology that we know. The origin of all the astrology comes from Parashara, Hora Shastra, and the story about Parashara is that his father was killed, by these demons, the Rakshasas. And the story about the Rakshasas is they used to be kings, right? They used to be human beings. And then they just like found no pleasure in all their abundance anymore. And they just turned to more and more horrific things to stimulate their senses more and more, right? And eventually they started to drink blood, become cannibals and stuff like that, according to these stories. And the idea is that Parashara, because he was so determined to kill them because they killed his father, he started to kill them all. He found a way, he found his yogic powers and started to kill them all. And then he was about to like kill the last one. This is how the story goes, right? And then like the voice of God or something like that. I can't remember who the character is that comes in, maybe Brahma or something, I'm not sure. Says, don't stop. Killing them is not the answer, and this is what starts Parashara's kind of direction towards astrology, I guess you could say, because astrology is meant to help us find remedy for these conflicts that we have between planets,
right.
and find unity again, to come back together as one, because those demons are projections of ourselves, and if we're killing them, what are we really doing, right? Are we really helping the universe? Are we really helping the world? And the story is that we're not. And what I can do to make this story more interesting actually is to add a story from the Nachi Shastra, which talks about how by trying to kill the demons, basically, and this is how the story goes. Basically, Indra comes along, and he's he sees that the demons that are on stage are causing havoc. They're like freezing the actors and they're stopping the play from continuing, and everyone wants to see the play, but the play is stopped, and all the gods are like, what's going on? And they figure out it's these demons stopping it, right? And because the demons don't want to see themselves get killed on stage, they hate the mimicry of that, right?
Right.
So Indra comes along and is like, well, we need the performance to continue, we can't stop it. So what he does is he takes this big jara, as it's called, and it's basically the gada that Krishna holds, or like the danda, the stick of like that kills the demons, whatever you want to call it. And he starts smashing them all to a pulp, as it said,
Yeah.
killing all the demons that are visible on the stage, right?
Mm.
But the idea is that in that story, as it's told, some of the demons run off and hide, right? Because they're being threatened, because we're trying to kill them, right? And as they hide, they're not gone. They're still there. And the story again picks up. So all the demons are gone. It just killed all the ones that are on stage. And then this, the play starts again, and then all of a sudden, like, the actors are still feeling terror, right? The actors are still subject to terror. And then it's found out that there's these demons hiding, and there's nothing we can do to stop them from creating the terror because they're hidden, they're kind of powerful and protected in their forts, and they're hiding out there, right? And so the idea is that Brahma comes along and says, well, okay, here's the deal. If we want to deal with these hidden demons, what we have to do is build the playhouse properly. We have to start from the beginning and realize that we didn't have the proper foundations. We didn't set the 4 pillars and, this and that, whatever the metaphor you want to say is, but it's a metaphor for yogic discipline,
Yes.
yogic wisdom, to have a healthy lifestyle and not kill the demons on the way as we're developing, but basically to deal with our own inner demons first. And then once we have achieved what's called like a saman state, a state of bliss through our practices, through dealing with our own demons, then the play can start again, and then we can avoid having to kill the demons because we're ready. We're coming from a place of bliss, basically. And I hope this makes sense, but this is how the story goes. And from there, basically, Brahma's recommendation is to deal with these hidden demons is to first find bliss and use summon energy to deal with them and not destroy them, to realize that they're just, a shadow or a projection, and that the way in which we avoid the demons from running and hiding and to actually transform them and get them to dance with us on stage, right? To get the demons to dance to the same beat, that we can all enjoy, is to befriend them and ask them, please stop hurting people, or, stop doing this, and stop creating so much terror, because you're creating so much terror and we just want to have a fun time, so.
Yeah.
And then what's most interesting is that this is where the ancient wisdom is told in these stories and how to use it. And then from establishing those pillars and finding bliss within, this is where the 4 remedies are introduced, which is one of the most lost and most important yogic teachings, in my opinion. And the 4 remedies are to, in any situation when there's something wrong out there, any demons, any dark night of the soul, any stress it's dealing with, you ask the universe, please, I don't want this to happen. You use sweet energy with as much joy and as much ecstasy as you can generate. You try your best, right, to ask nicely for it to stop. You approach them in a non-threatening way at all. If that doesn't work, right, then you say you've tried your best and you offer an alternative means. This is the second remedy, right? You offer like a gift, or you offer a reward, or you offer an intelligent alternative, or you offer the wisdom that says, what you're doing isn't actually going to provide you the true happiness you want, right? Explaining to the child, for instance, why it's good to do this and not this, And then if that doesn't work, you move on to the third one, which is the fire. And these are the tools in Vishnu's hand, right? The first one is the conch, which is supposed to be a sweet sound that's commanding and gets what it wants. And then the second one is the pushpa, which is the offering. So he makes the offering, which is the intelligence or the gift, right? And the third one is the fire. It's the chakra fire.
Sudarshan.
Sudarshan chakra, yeah. It's the fire of disagreement, of saying, it's the fire of Rudra, of Shiva, like saying, no, this is not right. We will not put up with this. And this is the threat. This is like the conditions. It's like, what you're doing is not right. It needs to stop. And hopefully we're the master of this instrument and we have compassion as we say that. We don't want to threaten them, but it's gotten to this stage, right? So we, as Shiva cries that little tear and it drops to the earth, and creates the Rudraksha seed, he also has his eyes are also angry. So he's balancing his anger with his sorrow to the fact that he has to destroy something. He's about to have to destroy something if they don't listen to the threat of disagreement, right?
Yeah.
But if that doesn't work, if Shiva's power isn't mastered and isn't effective and it doesn't convince that person to live in harmony, then comes the danda.
Yeah.
You know, and now Indra can go on stage and destroy all the demons because they've, you know, we tried our best, and we know where they're hiding because we just became friends with them. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's how we deal with the darkness according to these things, right?
Yeah. Right.